Welcome to Meeple Mentor. I'm Jared and we are about to play Clans of Caledonia. Let's take a look, I'll show you how. Feel free to pause the video as needed to follow along with your copy of the game. This game is a 19th century Scotland agriculture and industry simulator. Players compete to get points through trading, exporting, growing food, raising animals, harvesting cotton, and creating whiskey. Each player represents a different historic Scottish clan with their own special abilities and powers. The game takes place over 5 rounds. A single round goes through 4 phases each time, always ending with scoring. Each round has a variable scoring goal tile that players will aim for. This helps you focus what you need to collect, produce, or otherwise accomplish that round. At the end of the scoring phase of round 5, in-game scoring bonuses are awarded, and the person who has the most victory points wins the game. I've replaced the base game money and goods tokens with the upgrades shown here. The different types of resources are milk, wool, cheese, grain, bread, whiskey, cotton, tobacco, and sugarcane. It's important to note that cotton, tobacco, and sugarcane are collectively represented on the track here and not collected by players. As you complete export tiles, you earn a certain amount of these 3 goods for purposes of in-game bonus points. The hops import icons are 1 victory point each at the end of the game. Each player takes a player board, an export box tile, player aid tile, 2 different technology tiles, all the game tokens for their chosen color, white, blue, black, or red, and sets them up exactly like shown here. I recommend pausing the video on this screen until everyone's ready to continue. You'll have 2 leftover merchant cubes and 4 port tiles set aside nearby. Lay out the market board for the side showing the right number of players. Place the 6 transparent price markers on the circled numbers to start. Lay out the export board, also showing the correct number of players. Shuffle and draw 1 scoring tile to place next to each round as shown here. Shuffle the export tiles and create a face-down draw pile. Place 1 random tile face up on each box on this board. If playing solo or with 3 players, leave 1 box empty. Place each player's glory tokens and settlement tokens off the board. Shuffle and draw 1 more clan tile than number of players. Then, shuffle and draw 1 starting tile to place next to each drawn clan tile. Now let's set up the board. Locate the corner of each map tile that has letters A, B, C, and D. Maps are double-sided for variability. Place all 4 maps in alphabetical order going clockwise, making sure the letters are adjacent to the center of the map. Shuffle the port bonus tiles and place a random one adjacent to a factory at each outer corner of the board. The arrow points to where the tile should be placed, here for 1 to 2 player games and next to it for 3 to 4 players. Randomly decide the player who goes first. The first turn order will go clockwise. Place each player's turn order token here on the export board. In reverse turn order, each player gets to choose a clan tile and its starting tile you previously set up. Each player immediately collects all goods and money indicated on the starting tiles. I'm not going into detail on each clan, so now is a good time to pause the video and reference the clan-specific abilities described in the back of the rulebook. When a player moves a piece from their player board to the game board, they pay the cost of the piece on the board, and the cost of the space on the map hex that they're going to place it. The costs are shown in red numbers at the top of each column. You have 2 types of workers: woodcutters, which cost 6 pounds, and miners that cost 10 pounds. Each player in turn now places 1 worker from their player board onto an empty hex space on the game board. The worker and the map hex costs must still be paid as part of this initial placement. Woodcutters must be placed where forest is printed, and miners must be placed where there are mountains. Some spaces have multiple types of terrain, which gives more options. Then, in reverse order, each player places one more worker on the board. Each space on the map can only hold one thing at a time. During this setup, you can place your second worker anywhere. It doesn't have to be connected or adjacent to your first one. All money is paid to the supply off the board. The game will end after 5 rounds. Each round has 4 phases: preparation, actions, production, and scoring. The player aid reminds you what to do. Skip phase 1 for the first round. Flip the previous round's scoring tile face down. Refill any empty export boxes according to player count. Take back any used merchants from the market and put them next to their players' boards. There are several different actions to choose from. In player order, each person does one action at a time until everyone has passed. If you're done taking actions, the last thing you can do is pass. When you pass, move your turn order token to the leftmost available position on the next round and collect the money that's printed on the space. In this way, turn order for the next round is determined by the order that everyone passed. You can use merchants to trade. The little cubes to the side of your board are what's available. In one trade action, you can use any number of available merchant cubes to buy or sell goods. For each cube placed, you can buy or sell 1 unit. To buy or sell different goods, you have to take the trade action again later in the round. You aren't allowed to both buy and sell a single good in the same round. To buy a good, put your cubes at the top of the goods column, pay the current cost times the number of goods bought. Move up the price marker equal to the number of goods bought like this. To sell a good, put the merchant cubes at the bottom of the column and collect the amount of money calculated the same way. Move the price marker down by how many you just sold back to the supply. You can take one available export tile from those face up. The cost is determined by the current round shown here. Note that you actually earn money by taking a contract in the first round. You can only have one face-up export tile at a time. You can't get rid of it until you fulfill it. Some clans do allow you to hold more than one. Pay the goods shown on the left of the tile on your box. You get the benefits on the right side. In order to pay a lamb shank, you have to remove one of your sheep from the game board and put it back on your player board. Steak is done the same way, except with your cows on the board. Collect money earned and other benefits. When gaining import goods like cotton, tobacco, or sugarcane, you move their respective token on the track. If you move one of these on or past one of these marked coin spaces, you get to collect $1 from the bank. Keep the completed export tile and set it aside for the end of the game. I prefer to just flip it over to note that it's been completed. This symbol means you can take an immediate expand action without having to pay the cost of the hex space. This symbol gives you an immediate bonus upgrade action of your choice. The shipping or merchant upgrade would be free, while the technology upgrade discounted price is £5. The main thing you'll be doing is building neighborhoods by putting your pieces across the map. In order to expand, you choose the topmost token for whatever you're building and pay the cost for it, plus the cost of the hex that you place it on. Grassland areas can support any of these. You've got sheep, cows, cheese dairies, bread bakeries, wheat fields, and whiskey distilleries. As a reminder, woodcutters can only be placed on forest hexes, and miners can only be placed on mountain hexes. As you expand on the map, you can keep track of your settlements with the settlement token. At the end of the game, victory points are awarded to the top 2 or 3 players with the most settlements that are within shipping reach of each other. A settlement is a cluster of neighboring units of one color with no river between them. Single units can also be a settlement if not all your settlements are within shipping reach. Count only your biggest group of settlements that are. If you build the fourth of one building type, you get a building bonus if your export box is empty. You can draw 3 export contracts from the draw pile and take one or none. Pay the cost for it depending on the round that it's taken. You're only allowed to expand to adjacent neighboring hexes as far as your shipping reach extends. If this token is here, you're allowed to expand to adjacent hexes over rivers. This one lets you expand over one water hex to get to a land hex. When you place any unit on the map adjacent to another player's hex with no river separating, you can get an immediate neighborhood bonus. You're allowed to take a free buy action of that type of good based on the market price at a discount. The first 3 types are basic goods that get a £2 discount. The last 3 are processed goods that get a £3 discount. You must still spend available merchants to take this action. Adjust the prices in the market like usual. You're limited in this case to buying 3 of one type of good. Upgrades are possible actions on your turn as well. You can pay the cost shown to gain a new merchant cube or move your shipping marker one space forward to expand your shipping reach. The technology upgrade allows you to flip a tech tile so the little arrow points to the other column for your workers. Doing this will increase your income earned per worker of that type on the board. This upgrade is more expensive. Lastly, as a free action, you can use a port bonus tile. As long as you have a token on an adjacent hex or are within the shipping reach of that port tile, you can use it before or after your main action. To indicate you've used it, place one of your color's port tokens on it. Each player can use each port once during the game. To see what bonuses they all do, I once again refer you to their descriptions in the rulebook. Once everyone is passed and collected money for passing, everyone earns income and goods from units placed on the map. Follow this order as shown on the player aid. First, your deployed workers earn you money. Take £4 per woodcutter and £6 per miner. If your technology tile is upgraded, you'll get $2 extra for each worker. The number printed under the worker is the sum total that you should earn as a convenience. Then you produce basic goods. Each sheep produces 1 wool, each cow produces 1 milk, each field produces 2 grain. Then you can produce processed goods if possible, but this is optional. Each cheese dairy can process 1 milk into 1 cheese. Each bread bakery can process 1 grain into 1 bread. Each distillery can process 1 grain into 1 whiskey. Goods earned come from the supply. Spent goods return to the supply. It's recommended storing your current goods and money below your board, and produced goods and earned money above your board to make sure you took the right amounts. Once everyone's familiar with how production works after a round or 2, players can optionally do this phase as soon as they pass, while others are still taking actions. This will help speed up your game. Look at the current round's scoring tile. Each player earns the points shown at the bottom for fulfilling requirements at the top. Refer to the rulebook for detailed explanations of these tiles. Move each player's glory token around the export track. If you complete a lap, you can take a 30-point glory marker and start over. At the end of round 5's normal scoring, additional final scoring takes place. Whoever has the most points wins the game, and money breaks ties. Here's how final scoring takes place. Use the scoring notepad included to help. First, you get victory points earned throughout the game tracked by your glory token. 1 victory point for each basic good, milk, wheat, and wool, 1 victory point for each processed good, cheese, whiskey, and bread, and 1 victory point for every 10 pounds. 1 victory points awarded for every hops import icon shown on your fulfilled export contracts. And depending on the rarity of the cotton, tobacco, and sugarcane, you'll get 3, 4, or 5 victory points for each of these in your fulfilled export contracts. Looking at each of their track positions, the most commonly imported good is worth 3 points. The least imported good is worth 5 points. Now, count your fulfilled export contracts. In a 3 or 4 player game, 12 victory points are given to the player with the most, and 6 victory points for the second most. In a 2 player game, 8 victory points are given for the most. Lastly, you score settlements. In a 3 to 4 player game, the player with the most gets 18 victory points, and the second most, 12 victory points, and the third most, 6 victory points. For a 2 player game, only the player with the most gets 12 victory points. The rulebook covers 2 possible variants and several rule changes for a simpler game. For a 2-player game, use the 2-player variant, meaning a smaller map. The shaded spaces on the edge of the map with mist are not used. The game also has a solo mode, which makes use of the market dice, but I'll leave the full explanation for the rulebook. Here's some of the simplification rules you can add. Static import goods. Don't keep track of the import goods on the track. Instead, each import will simply be worth 4 victory points each, without scoring tiles and or port tiles. Don't set up round scoring tiles or port tiles to have a less random game. Tighter game map. Flip 4 port tiles to their factory side and cover any 4 land spaces of the active map during setup. I recommend putting 1 per map board. Those spaces are not available anymore in that game. Without clans. You can ignore the clans and abilities altogether. Only choose from starting tiles. Additionally, the starting player would get 0 pounds, the second player 2 pounds, third player 4 pounds, and the fourth player 6 pounds. The game also comes with a clan auction variant, but this is recommended only for highly competitive and experienced players. There are additional details for specific bonuses earned on port tiles, scoring tiles, and the abilities of each clan, and I recommend you to take a look at the rulebook on pages 10 to 12 for those details. Remember to go to BoardGameGeek.com for FAQs and extra content. Also check the comments to help with questions. Check the video description for links to Board Game Geek, Top Shelf Gamer for token upgrades, SleeveKings.com for a 10% off coupon on card sleeves, and Mr. Meeple t-shirts for cool board gaming shirts. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you found this teaching video helpful. Stick around to watch another Learn to Play video, and I will see you next time.